Beautiful people, welcome back to Around the World with Steven. Welcome if you're new, and if you're returning, I appreciate you. Worldies and travelers, how are we all doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. I appreciate you all. Today we're going to look at the interview Stephanie Sue had with a killer, the part 2 of it, which says woman gets Facebook message from old colleague or boyfriend after he unalived his rapist. This is her response. Bruh. If you know this story, and if you watch the actual video or the reaction I did, you'd realize this guy who was a kid was R-worded by a bully, by a pedophile, by one of the most horrible people the world has ever seen. And he had his revenge years later when he drove up there with a friend and couldn't control himself. He recklessly, it was brutal. Yeah. So we're about to watch the part 2 of it. Like, share, subscribe. I know this is one of the popular ones. Yeah, let's dive into it. Let me know what I get wrong. And I love you all so much. Let's get into it.
Bada bing, bada boo.
In America, there are approximately 25 million secret boxes. That's basically what they are. I mean, I guess the official terminology would be a safety deposit box. But these are typically hidden away. These little secret boxes are hidden away inside these bank vaults across the United States. And you could say lots of people go there to hide away their expensive stuff. Their watches, jewelry, cash. They just stick them in there and no robber can come get them. Things that they don't feel secure keeping in their homes, they go in the safety deposit box. But a lot of the times, you open these little boxes up because you have a secret. It's like a spouse hiding cash from another spouse. Is it for good reason? We don't know. A family man hiding documents that might include the existence of a second family, that's going in the safety deposit box. He's not going to put that in a shoebox at the bottom of his closet. Usually you never really have the chance to open someone else's secret box because that's the whole point. They're jumping through all of these hoops to make sure it stays secret, unless they're dead. Then it's a whole process. Depending on what state you live in and your will, let's just say if you die under suspicious circumstances, like if you were, let's say, killed in your living room by the little boy that you assaulted, only he's not so little anymore, he's a full-grown man with a knife, then yeah, most likely that safety deposit box is going to be opened under the watchful supervision of authorities and very tense, very awkward bank employees. In Dennis Pegg's safety deposit box, they find a ton of letters, handwritten letters. None of the letters are particularly insightful. He doesn't spill all of his secrets to confess anything, but the letters are really creepy. First of all, he wrote these letters 10 years before he dies while he's a relatively healthy, slightly middle-aged man. Typically, men of that age are not fully estate planning with handwritten letters to everyone that they deem special in their lives. And the letters themselves are strange. They all contain variations of the phrase, "Pray for me if you can." Which, if they're reading his letters, he's already dead. And "Forgive me for my faults. I've forgiven you for yours. You were always like a little special son to me, or a little brother to me." It's just letter after letter in that safety deposit box. Most likely written for his victims. Victims who, after their abuser is dead, will be delivered a handwritten letter asking them to pray for their abuser. In part 1, we went over the night of the killing where Clark, after 33 years of not doing anything about Dennis Pegg, his abuser, when he was 12, he decides he's gonna do something now. He goes to Dennis Pegg's house after 30 plus years. Dennis sees him at the front door holding a hunting knife that, ironically, Dennis taught Clark how to sharpen. And all he says is, "Hey, how are you?" Clark is slashing at him, slitting his throat, stabbing him countless times, and then finally he spits on his bed before walking out. Clark's mom tries to help him get away with murder. She's like, "We gotta go on the run." But he decides he's gonna stay. And that is when the police come for him. They arrest Clark, and now he's going to prison where he's gonna be placed in the cells with the types of people that he hates the most. I mean, one of them that he's already killed. Those are child predators. In part 2, we're going to cover Clark's time in prison, how he survived, all the strange details about what it means when your fellow cellmate keeps flushing his head down the toilet, and how Clark is now a free man. We also go into depth about what happened to his brother, another victim of Dennis Pegg, who ends up being killed by Dennis, and what even happened in those 33 years between Dennis Pegg abusing Clark and Clark killing Dennis for what he's done. Why did the FBI come to find Clark? How does he get involved with the mob, the mafia? Also, the fact that Dennis Pegg has likely close to 100 victims, including his own grandnephew who self-exits soon after Dennis Pegg's murder. And somehow, throughout all of this, the one person that Clark cannot stop thinking about is a woman named Lisa. So what role does Lisa play in all of this? This is part 2, the final part of our interview with Clark Fredericks. All of those questions will be answered in this part of the episode, but there are still so many details and stories that Clark has to share that you can find in his memoir, Scarred, or by following him on his social media and by checking out his podcast. So with that being said, let's get into part 2.
Before we get into part 2, man, oh man, what am I hearing? This intro was packed. There was letters he wrote 10 years before he was unalived. So it means while he was still active, he wasn't sick or anything. He just wrote them, kept them in a safety deposit box. That is crazy. Was he eventually going to tell somebody when he thought he was going to die? He was going to tell somebody, oh, you know what? When I die, open the safety deposit box. There are letters I wrote to people and pray for me. You would think somebody who write pray for me needs prayers ASAP and would ask for prayers when they're still alive or after they do something silly. No, wait till they pass away. Then there's no use for the prayers. And this mafia thing going, bro, I am excited for part 2. Let's get into it. And before we get into it, this disclaimer also goes for me. If you're sensitive to animal cruelty, self-harm, exit, CSA, please don't hesitate to take a break or check out something else. Love you all. Let's get it.
You've been reached out by the IRS, the FBI, and Homeland Security?
That's correct.
Were you counting cards?
I studied counting cards, but I found it to get a little distracting. This is going to sound weird.
Okay.
You know, I would go to the casinos and I would walk the casino floor and I would get a vibe for a table. And I'd be like, this is the table. And I'd just get a feeling for it. And I would gamble and I would get a feeling like, all right, it's time to up your bet. And I had an unbelievable, 4 or 5 year run in the casinos that was just astronomical. I'm working in the tire automotive field making $700 a week. And I'm down in Atlantic City winning tens of thousands of dollars left and right.
And you're just putting cash in your closet?
In my briefcase in my closet.
This goes on for how many years?
This was a distraction from my pain.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not like I consciously said, I have trauma from being abused as a child. I need to gamble to distract myself. Yeah. It was just, I'm uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable. It's my trauma in there making me feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable and I need something to distract me from that uncomfortable feeling. I need pleasure. I became a pleasure seeker. Don't address anything. Don't ever go inside. Let's just seek pleasure our whole life, whether it's drugs, gambling, whatever it may be. Seek pleasure. So that's what I was doing with gambling.
What is the...
And that is very relatable. I'm sorry to fuck on Stephanie off. That's very relatable. Sometimes some things happen in our lives that require us to seek pleasure, right? I mean, that's how a lot of people get into some habits that they don't know how it started, but you could trace those to trauma. You could trace a lot of bad habits and a lot of pleasure-seeking habits to trauma. And if that is not addressed and turns to addiction, well, that is when you spiral out of control. You become a pleasure-seeking person, hedonistic person, and then you realize that your life is just whisking away and whiling away That's how people fall into drugs, people fall into sex, people fall into, and when I say sex, it's like excessive, like 1,000 women a day type thing, you know? All these are like to cover up unhealed trauma. So, man, I understand that for sure.
Most you've lost.
Most I lost was 75,000.
And
Whoa.
do you feel it in that moment? Like, I just lost 75,000.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
okay.
can't sleep. It's just acid is awash in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the high you get from losing is just it distracts you from everything, just like the high from winning.
$75,000, bro. That is crazy. And one thing that gamblers or the gambling industry banks on is the anticipation that you're going to win. Some people have won before. Some people have never won before. But they hear stories and the anticipation that they'll win gives them a high to try. So they're losing money. They don't care. They'll rather sell property to gamble because they anticipate that they're going to win. But I didn't know there was a high in losing too. That is crazy.
You start by reading books about gambling, and then somehow you end up being very superstitious.
Yeah, I mean, I went down there just on a whim, like
Okay.
bored with life, and won 1,700. Went back, won
Whoa.
2,200. But I was getting yelled at the blackjack table because I didn't know what I was doing, but I was still winning. So I'm like, I'm not gonna go back until I know what the hell I'm doing. And I would always hear all this screaming at the craps table. It sounded like a blast. So I had no idea how to play craps. So I took like 6 months. I got 5 deck of cards. I read all these books on blackjack. I read books on craps. I would throw dice in my room. I would play all the hands of blackjack. I'd pick which one I am and see how it would affect things, my decisions. And I did that for 6 months until I felt comfortable to go back down. And then just like, boom, like 17,000, 28,000.
Oh my
30,000.
goodness.
It just went boom, 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 boom.
Is it true that, like, if you win or lose, you could blame it on the fact that you stepped on a crack? Like, is that, like, genuinely what starts happening, or?
Those little quirks didn't start right away, but as you start winning more and more and more, you start thinking, all right, what did I do? Like, all right, I better not step on any cracks.
Oh
I
my
don't know
goodness.
where it came from. Like, it was just like boom, like, all right, what did I do?
What did I do?
In the days leading up to going to the casino? Like, oh, when I went up the stairs, I jumped that second stair.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then that, like I skipped 2 stairs there. So like then I would have to go up the stairs a certain way. And then I couldn't step on any cracks on pavement. Like, and then, like where they paint the blue handicapped spots with the wheelchair, I'm like, that's bad luck. Don't ever step on that. And then when I would get to the casino, there was a whole other ritual, like for rolling the dice. It would, I would have to tap it a certain number of times, and in my knee, I would have to hit the table with my knee a certain number of
Oh
times
my
before I could roll the
gosh.
dice. And it was like, it just started getting more and more and more and more insane.
You start at the casinos, but then you get involved with the mob.
Yeah.
Before they get to the mob, I have something to say about the casino. You know what? Like, it is amazing that he didn't know anything about it and won the $1,200 and won what he won, the 2 he won. I mean, it will boost everybody's confidence. I mean, I didn't know about it. I won money. Second time won money. And then I'm learning about it and winning 22,000 and all that stuff, bro. That is a motivating factor to just keep at it. And that is when it beats you and you don't realize you're getting addicted and you get addicted. And then you start losing stuff. So that is crazy. I'm thinking that it's linked to the IRS harassing him and stuff like that, the FBI and stuff. Well, the FBI is as a result of the mafia thing, but I believe that's how the IRS got to him. That's what I'm thinking right now.
No, another brilliant decision.
Okay, so you get involved with the mob. How much do you owe the mob?
It was because I needed action every day of the week to distract myself from
Oh,
feeling uncomfortable. So like I couldn't wait to the weekends to go gamble. I needed something. What am I going to do Monday through Friday?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it came about that I could, through a bar, I could start sports betting every day of the week. And I was given a no limit bet. So like I could bet as much as I wanted, as often as I wanted. In 6 months, I was broke, like lost everything.
Dang.
And in that last week, I was down 20,000 and I didn't have it. Now you would think, all right, it's time to walk away, Clark. But no, I'm going to get that 20,000 back if I can, plus some. So I called the number that I called to place my bets, and I said, hey, I got to move some money around. Can you let me carry that 20,000 over for another week? And they're like, for you, anything. I'm like, okay. So I go into that next week, 20 in the hole, and I'm like, I got to get that 20 back. Plus, I want to keep gambling, so I need to win on top. So I just start making really stupid bets.
Dang.
And when the week ended, I was 77,000 in the hole to the mob.
So when you were gambling in casinos, you were making money.
Yeah.
How much were you making?
Oh, hundreds. I mean, my largest win was 153,000.
Damn.
And that was after losing 3 times on the craps table where I had 20 to 30,000 at a clip up there.
Wow.
So I was well over $250,000 just for that one time. But I mean, 50,000, 70,000. My host put me into a blackjack tournament for 75,000, winner take all. And he's like, I think you got this, bro.
Oh my goodness.
Your luck is unbelievable. I didn't win. I got knocked out about halfway through it, but I went to a high stakes blackjack table and I won 80,000. So like I won more than what the prize was.
So then you were like, okay, I'm going to do this with the mob. And then you're down 77,000. And now the mob is trying to kill you.
The mob is threatening me, threatening my life. The mob is telling me the best thing I could do for myself is to go rob a bank. The guy's like, look, if you get caught, you're looking at 5 to 10 years. You'd be a hell of a lot better off doing 5 to 10 years than what we're going to do to you. And they're calling me every day. And this was like a constant, dude, you got to go rob a bank. Like, what are you waiting on? Go rob a bank. Maybe you'll get away with it. You can give us money and hold us off. You get caught, you go do 5, 10 years. What's the big deal? You know, that was what they were constantly on.
Did you ever consider?
Oh my goodness, man. You see how like trauma just spiraled him out of control? He was gambling on the weekends. He's like, I can't wait on the weekends. I got to do like something on the weekdays. Then fell into more gambling, which is sports betting. And then had to get tied in with the mob because he couldn't pay his debt. And now, you know what they're telling him? Go rob a bank. Because if you're caught, 10 years, fine. But what we're going to do to you, we're going to cut your ear off. We're going to cut your dick off. We're going to feed your titties to the lions, like stuff, weird stuff. And then you're sitting there thinking, man, this is ridiculous. I might as well go rob a bank. It came from just one trauma that an idiot in the society did to him. He had his revenge and he was never the same. So that is why I advocate for harsher punishment for perpetrators. That is all. That is all, man. His spiraling out of control stems from one trauma. Unhealed trauma. Crazy.
Do 5, 10 years. What's the big deal? You know, that was what they were constantly on.
Did you ever consider robbing a bank?
No.
Oh.
And then they called my family. They got my father's phone number. And they said, hey, old man, you want to save your son's life? You better pony up some money for him. I had already gone to my family to warn them. And sure enough, they called my father. Then they called my brother, who I used to be in business with. And they're like, your brother's in a lot of trouble. You have the power to save your brother's life. You can do that by paying us what he owes us.
Damn.
And I had told everybody to tell them, like, this is Clark's responsibility. He'll handle it with you. And that's what they both said. But it scared everybody to death.
Were you not scared?
Oh, yeah. It was the worst time in my life.
Okay.
It was horrible. I had a shotgun in my truck, loaded, that I drove around with. I had a baseball bat in my office. I was constantly on edge, like just to leave the house in the morning, I got to go to all the windows of the house and look out in the yard, behind the shed, see if anybody's out there, the same thing, leaving my office, like I've got to like survey everything. I was just hyper vigilant, is what they call it. And I was hyper vigilant to the max.
So the mob is as scary as they're depicted in movies and books. Like, they're intense.
Yeah, it was just angry, threatening phone calls almost on a daily basis. And I wasn't trying to I wasn't trying to weasel out.
Yeah.
But I told them the only way I could make good on this is to set up a payment plan. And what I really could afford was $500 a month at the time.
Oh, boy.
Because I had a lot of debts to casinos. Casinos would all let me have, markers, $20,000 markers in them all. So I had all these markers I owed, and credit cards were maxed out. And I'm trying to juggle everybody. So I told the guy, I can do $500 a month. And the guy went absolutely bananas. And he's like, $500 a month doesn't even cover the juice on $77,000. Like, you're out of your mind, bro. So it was a horrible time.
Yeah, one of the most horrible things are loan sharks. Those who will give you money, put some profits on it, and take it back. I don't know if they are loan sharks. He calls them the mob, so that might be something different. However, they operate almost the same. I mean, just that for loan sharks, if they're giving you a $10,000 loan, they're getting $15,000 back, and they know you don't have it in the first place. If you had $15,000, you are not going to get $10,000 from them anyway. They know you don't have it, and what they do is they terrify you. If you are in such a situation, what I will tell you is get your family out of where they are. Take them to another state, another province, wherever you may be living. Like, just hide your family, because if they can't get to you, they'll start getting to people you love so much just to get at you till they get to you. Do you understand that? That is crazy. So he was treading really dangerous, he was treading dangerously with the mob. And it looks like the mob, he got who he owed were good people, because they were trying to reason with him. Look, rob a bank, do this, do that. Man, payment plan, how much you got? You know what I mean? They were not like some loan shark stories I've heard. Man.
And then I get a phone call after months of this. And it's them. And they don't ask for money. They just say, "You're a dead man," and click and hang up. And then a couple months goes by after that where I'm completely on edge,
oh boy,
can't sleep. You're always listening for every little sound. Like, is that somebody out there?
Dang.
And I get a call. At this point in time, we had 2 tire automotive centers. I had one and my brother had one. And I happened to be at my brother's store one day, and his office manager came in the back room and said, "Hey, there's a phone call for you." I'm like, "Who the hell's calling me over here? Nobody knows I'm here." He goes, "I don't know. They asked for Clark." So I answer the phone, and the guy introduces himself as a special agent with the FBI. "I need to meet you at your Newton location," the store I had, "on Thursday at 3:00. And I'm like, "Well, bro, you got to tell me what this is about." He's like, "No, I don't." He goes, "I'll see you Thursday at 3:00, and he hangs up.
Bro, are you going to believe that? Are you seriously going to believe that? I bet you I'm not going to believe that, man. I'm going to be skeptical as heck. Bro, I know I have this mob following me. I have this mafia type mob wanting to unalive me. And then all of a sudden I have a call and it's the FBI. Like, how? What does the FBI want? I would think they're trying to set me up. To be honest with you, I don't think they're trying to set me up. I'm not going. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that.
And then your mind just goes like in a million directions, like I couldn't fathom what the FBI is coming to meet me for. Like I was doing some now and then, and I'm like, is the FBI going to try to pinch my dealer by put pressure in me? Like,
dang.
I'm buying a gram of, like, when the FBI's getting involved on a gram of. So I had no idea what it was. And then the guy came to the store, and clearly was an FBI guy.
Oh, okay.
And said they had an informant inside one of the major crime families who told them a hit had been put out on my life for my gambling debt. And if I didn't think it was real before then, that really made everything real.
But you still didn't snitch. You didn't cooperate with the FBI. You're like, well,
no, they wanted me to wear a wire, and I was like, "Are you out of your mind? Like, my life is hell right now. You want me to wear a wire and make it even worse?" I go, and I told the FBI guy what I told the mob guy. I go, "This is my problem, and I'm not running from it, and I'm gonna deal with it." And the FBI guy said, "Well, that's very noble of you, but if things get too heavy for you, here's my card. You can call me."
Wait, what?
Wait. So before Mr. Ron Mango comes in, it's because the FBI actually knows that he's in trouble with the mob. And so if they come to tell him, you know what, we're trying to get on the people that are trying to unalive you, he would run at that opportunity. And that is how a lot of FBI have informants. They have people who actually work with the mob that want to defect, or people that want to leave the group, or people that are in trouble, so they can pinpoint who are in the mob and go after them. But this guy was like, nah, I'm not doing that. I don't want to wear wire, which is dangerous, by the way, because you're going to people who you owe, who are looking for you, and wearing a wire, that will get you instantly unalived. So I can see how he thought that wasn't safe, and I actually agree with him. It's good he didn't go through with it. Whoa, that's crazy.
The FBI guy offered?
Things get too heavy for you, here's my card. You can call me.
Wait, what did the FBI guy offer you at first? He said, wear a wire and we will help you? Or
Yeah. It's not like, like, we'll solve your problem by taking these guys down.
Right.
And I'm like, no, this is my problem, and I'm not going to compound it by wearing a wire.
Wow. Is it because that you scared that wearing a wire is more dangerous than...
That's just not the type of person I was. Like, it wasn't in my DNA to become a little weasel snitch wearing a wire. Like,
Interesting.
Like, no, it's not who I am.
Wow.
it's all in the book. But if you, because I know the FBI, Homeland Security, and IRS Criminal Division reach out. If you had to rank them in intensity, who was the scariest agency? Because it's a lot
Question.
of experience.
Division of Homeland Security, I'd say, is at the bottom.
Yeah. That
Whoa.
makes sense.
Boy, the
They're gonna call you
FBI, the IRS did a full audit on me. They thought I was money laundering because I was putting in all this cash from the gambling winnings into my bank account. That was a nightmare doing
You
that.
didn't just tell them you're that good. They're like, no, we don't.
Well, that's that's what I eventually got to that point with them, But there's laws for trying to skirt the $10,000 notification rule, Dummy me, like somebody said, oh, if you put in under $10,000 deposit, it doesn't get recorded or notified. So I'm like, oh, cool. So 9,800, 9,700, 9,600, 9,700, 9,800, 9,200, 9,400, 9,800, like nonstop. And then that sets off all the red flags.
Right, exactly.
And, so yeah, that was a nightmare too.
So
And before that, to answer the question, who is more dangerous? I would say FBI and IRS are on par. IRS don't play. They would write you. They would come look into your stuff. I'm talking about the smallest amount. Bro, they wrote me for the smallest amount, and I already sent it. So they don't play. And I've heard, like, you look at a lot of celebrities like Wesley Snipes, like those who tax evade, bro, they go bankrupt. IRS they will pull everything from you, and it's scary. It's scary. And then the FBI, we all know how the FBI works. They don't play at all. The FBI they're on another level. They are on another level. So yeah, absolutely, those two, and then Homeland Security. I haven't have to deal with them before, but if he has and he says they're at the bottom, then I'm going with his word there.
IRS or FBI? Who's scarier?
I think when you're told a hit's been put out on your life and a confidential informant, that's the top of the list. Yeah.
That's like in your 30s. But it does seem like after everything that Dennis did, there were signs in your childhood where a lot of psychiatrists later say it seemed like you're crying for help, like trying to get help in a way. Playing with fire, is that one of them?
Yeah, I became a little firebug.
What is it about fire? Because I see that a lot in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I think it has to do with control, and it's an outlet for anger from what happened.
So you're just like lighting matches, or are you lighting things on fire?
Yeah, I lit our house. We had this screened-in patio bar area out back, and I lit the corner of that on fire.
Damn.
A guy happened to show up that were going to be painting the house, and like the screened-in porch things on fire. Like it had been smoldering overnight and caught on fire when they got there. And, we had a huge backyard and raked the leaves into a pile where the swing set was, and you'd swing off into the leaves. Well, I just took a can of gas all over the leaves and set it on fire, and this big fire exploded. And
These are big fires. Okay.
So yeah, and then another sign of abuse is shoplifting, and I got caught shoplifting, and it's the same thing. It's an outlet for anger and pain. It's a control issue. So those were signs, and I started smoking pot like right after the abuse. 12 years old, started smoking pot, drank heavily in high school, got suspended for coming in drunk. Got caught on a class trip to the Jersey Shore, drinking on a bench with two other buddies, and the chaperone teachers come up behind us and like, seriously, guys. My principal threatened me that I wouldn't graduate with the class if at the prom he even had the hint of alcohol on my breath.
Did you ever feel frustrated that these teachers are saying these things to you, but they don't like recognize what is underneath that behavior? Was there any sort of frustration or anger towards them?
No. I'm there was a thing with the essay I wrote, which is unbelievable. I would hope that times have changed. And your audience, in the book, they'll see this essay I wrote, and I put a lot of stuff in there in this essay that was. It just screams, I've been abused, like I need help and I've been abused. And the teacher gave me an A and said, use more paragraphs next time.
Whoa.
So like if you see a sudden change in behavior in a younger person, there's a reason why, like shoplifting, fire, weed, drinking, getting suspended, getting detentions, getting caught on class trips, getting threatened by the principal, like writing this essay that screamed, I need help. And I don't know if it was a sign of the times, but it was all right there. And, nobody picked up on it.
It is sad that the teacher, the essay thing struck me, because if you're a teacher, you see an essay like that, you give the kid an A and don't think anything of it. I mean, teachers are not psychologists. Let me be clear on that. But I think somebody had told me once that certain kids exhibit behaviors because they are actually screaming for help. And that hit me right there. That was like, that is very true, because kids will lash out when they actually have things going on at home. They can't contain it. They'll lash out. They'll lash out in being rebellious, being like asinine, like he said, like trying to do things that you would sit back and be like, whoa, what? This is a bad kid. But then that is actually screams for help. So I'm so sad that most, not just teachers, guardians, friends and stuff, can't pick on such cues, because if they're able to pick on such things, such as like bad behavior, being screams for help, a lot of kids wouldn't have to go through what they go through later in life. Things would have been stopped, right? So, man, I'm so sorry he had to go through that. But dang, this guy did a damaging, lifelong damage on Clark. It's scary.
What's interesting about your case is that, because I know there's a lot of cases where maybe victims' family and parents are not as involved in their lives and they might be missing a lot of the larger signs. But it seems like your dad was picking up on these signs, and he asked you multiple times.
Yeah.
And you never told him what happened.
And I really, like, you know, I've been asked, you know, if I have regrets in life, you know, like, do I regret owing $77,000 to the mob? Do I regret doing drugs? Do I regret, you know, like, really the only, and it's tough to have this regret, but I do have this regret, you know, like being a young boy and lying to my father when he asked me if Dennis Pegg ever touched me. And I just couldn't. The shame is there, and the pain is there. And my parents viewed me as the golden child for surviving this operation. And I just didn't want to become now the abused son who's tortured inside mentally, you know. So I just told my dad, no, he never touched me.
Around the time that your dad starts asking you if Dennis Pegg ever touched you, there were some other kids that were talking about it.
Yeah, that's how it came out.
And nothing happened.
All right, now just picture this. You have a 260-pound hulking lieutenant at the jail who's waiting out in the parking lot for young male inmates to get released so he can take them home to his house to mentor them. I'm a mentor. I'm going to give you a safe environment. You come live with me. We'll get you back on your feet. In the middle of the night, he would pounce on these young male inmates. Some ran away. Some didn't. Some probably froze like I froze. But the ones that ran away in the middle of the night in Stillwater. Stillwater is just like a little tiny rural town. And they would hitchhike. And when they would get picked up, they would tell the people, like, I just got out of jail, and this guy told me he would give me a safe place to stay, to get my feet back on the ground. And in the middle of the night, he's in my bed trying to do stuff with me. And it spread like wildfire around Stillwater. And that's where my father sat me down, said, did Dennis ever touch you? The first time he sat me down was probably a year after so I was probably 13. The second time was when a waitress in a donut shop told my father over a cup of coffee that her son, who was a classmate of mine, same grade, from Stillwater, in the Boy Scouts, had been by Dennis.
Oh, man.
And my father came home after she said that, and this time he said, before you answer me, I just want you to know you'll never have to go to the cops. You'll never have to testify in court. I'll take care of Dennis myself. Did he ever touch you? So is my father saying, I'll kill Dennis? That's how I took it. And that's way too much weight to put your teenage son under, like, as tempting as it was. Like,
Right.
I was tortured over that for a long time. Like, man, do I tell him? Do I tell him? Do I tell him? I want Dennis dead. Yeah. Dad could kill him. Dad could kill him. But then what if it goes wrong? What if Dad gets killed in the attack? Then it's my fault for telling him. What if Dad goes to prison for the rest of his life and I'm without a father? That's on me because I told him. So now I can't tell him. No, I can't. And I didn't tell him.
Do you
This is the realest thing ever, and I'm so emotional hearing that because it's true. It is 100% true. Like, I mean, your father wants the best for you, and you know your father is going to go attack him. But what if, right? What if it doesn't go as planned? What if he goes there and he is the one that ends up dead, instead of Dennis, instead of the piece of rat's turd, right? What if? So those what ifs, I don't think, if I had thought about that, or if I think about that as a kid, I'm also not telling my dad if something like that happened, because at the end of the day, I need him alive, and that guy was a lieutenant. So automatically as a kid, you're thinking, well, if he's a lieutenant, he has all these resources to his advantage. My dad can't do anything to him. Like, that's what I'm thinking, man. He's a police. He's in the sheriff's office, a lieutenant. So as much as you want to tell him, you're denying it, not because you want to deny it. Definitely there's a shame that comes with it, but also you want to protect your family, what you have, who loves you. You want to protect them. So, man, Dennis, he deserved worse than that. He deserved worse than what he got. And what he got is pretty bad, but he really deserved worse.
think your dad would have?
Yeah, because there's something later on the book my dad told me on his deathbed, and that just confirmed that he would have done it.
How do you feel that it was you that killed Dennis rather than your dad?
Yeah, nobody's ever asked me that. I feel better that it was me instead of my dad, because sending somebody else to do your work to, like, look, if I did it and I was either on a suicide mission, I was either going to commit suicide after, or I was going to do life in prison. That's on me. I don't want to be responsible for sending somebody else to do life in prison to get mortally wounded, maybe, or to commit suicide after they do it. I don't want that on my shoulders.
It seems by all accounts you were a very smart kid, and you end up at Northeastern.
Yeah, and I never applied myself in high school. Like, after the abuse, I just... everything was lacking, another sign, but I was really smart and I could do no work, get B's, C's. Somehow I got into Northeastern. They weren't as strict back then as they are now. Like, now it's like uber tough to get in, but I got in and I became an excellent student. I graduated cum laude. And
there is someone that you meet at Northeastern that's featured in your book?
Yeah. I Dennis Pegg did a lot of things that derailed a lot in my life. And one of the things he derailed was me being able to be intimate with a partner. And by intimate, I mean like open. Like, sex is one thing, intimacy is a completely different thing.
Right.
And I met this girl, Lisa, and she was so bubbly and outgoing, and she approached me. I was just studying by myself, and she came over and plopped down, and she was a whirlwind in my life. And she saw signs, though, even back then. Like, she would say to me, we would be laying together in bed, and I would have, like, soldiers come back from war and have 1,000-mile stare. Mm. I had that stare. And she'd be like, hello. And she'd be like in front of my face, and I'm still just like I wouldn't even acknowledge it. And then she'd hit me, and I'd be like, what? She's like, where are you in your mind right now? Like, you are not present with me. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, played it off that she was nuts. The trauma of this abuse was still really fresh and raw, and I would get lost in thought about it. And we had an amazing connection, amazing love between us. I could tell her I loved her, and I did. We had passion, and we dated for 6 years, and she was ready to like start our lives together, get married, careers, family, whatever it would entail. And I couldn't do that. Like,
Did you ever think about telling her, or
no.
why?
For a similar reason to my parents. I didn't want to go from the cool, sexy, party animal, fun-loving boyfriend to the wounded, broken wing duckling.
So you guys break up.
We break up.
Oh no. That's sad. Why break up? I mean, that was what I was thinking when he said, like, the 1,000 yard stare, not being able to open up. All that is a recipe for distrust, right? It's sad, man. It goes to show you trauma does a whole lot of damage to a person. He's spiraling out of control. He's using drugs, like he said in the first one. He's gambling. He's in a gambling addiction. And then it's even affecting his relationships, man. That is wild. That is wild, man. It's crazy.
I mean, do you believe in soulmates? Is that a crazy question to ask someone your age? Or is that...
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you think that she was yours?
Yeah.
How long after college do you guys break up?
I was a year ahead of her. So I graduated, and then she graduated a year behind, and then like another year after that is when she's like, you know, what are we doing here? You know, I was just jerking her around at that time, and she's like, you know, she was living in the city. I was living in Jersey. I would go in for a weekend. We'd have an amazing time, but then I'd disappear for a month or two. And then show back up, have an amazing time, disappear again. And she's like, every time you disappear, you're breaking my heart. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, are we going to get our act together and get going on life together or not? And I go, I can't do that. Like, everything is subconscious with it, with abuse. It was just like the thought of getting married, being tied down, scares me to death. It makes me feel really uncomfortable because being tied down and scared to death is how I was in that guy's house. And I'm feeling trapped, and I felt trapped in that house. So just that trapped feeling, I can't feel trapped. I don't want to feel trapped. Don't make me feel trapped. I'm going to run if you make me feel trapped. You're making me feel trapped. I got to go. Sorry.
Damn.
And that's how it was. And that's how it was with careers. You know, like in my 20s, it was like 2 to 3 years in a career, and that was it. Like I'm getting really uncomfortable feeling. I'm feeling trapped. I'm feeling like just a lot of pressure. I'm just feeling like I'm just like getting pushed down into the ground. I gotta run. I gotta go. I was a prey caught in his snare. He had me trapped for years, and I just never wanted to feel that feeling again.
You see, like, this is crazy. I think he spat on the guy's bed. I think he should have spat on him after he did that. Like, he's a piece of trash. And, like, him, oh my goodness. I'm talking about Dennis Pegg, the piece of trash, the human garbage. This guy should have spat on his stupid, lifeless body, like, after he did that. Because just that one act, that was preventable if he wasn't a pedophile, if he didn't choose to be an idiot that day. You see how one life starts to break down? And I'm not saying like it's like that every time, but it's just pathetic and sad to witness. He's trying to put stuff together, but he associates everything to being trapped, to being there, to the abuse, to what happened to him. You know what I mean? That is crazy. He essentially didn't just physically harm this guy. He mentally, emotionally, and psychologically harmed this guy. Sometimes it's good that pedophiles just exit, like Dennis Peck exited. If you know what I mean, fine.
Just an interesting observation. You don't have to comment, but it's interesting because you feel that way with relationships and careers. But in your book, you don't use this terminology for your careers, but you do with Lisa. You have this tendency to write post-Lisa when describing certain events that happen after the breakup. It's very interesting.
Back in college, myself and my 2 roommates and Lisa and her 2 roommates, we all dated. So the 6 of us were always together. 2 of the couples didn't make it, Lisa and I being one, but one of the couples did. They got married.
After college, you guys break up. You're in, the FBI's calling you, the mob is after you. Everything is kind of everywhere. And then you kill Dennis Pegg.
Yeah.
Like, in your darkest time, you never thought, like, maybe I should reach out to her?
Constantly. Over the decades, constantly.
What stopped you?
Just the way I was living, the shape I was in, the shape my life was in. Like, I had so many grandiose fantasies about finding Lisa and sweeping her off her feet and riding off into the sunset. But I've got the mob wanting to kill me. Like, I'm really going to bring her into that. I'm going to go find her, sweep her off her feet, ride off into the sunset. But I'm addicted to drugs and alcohol. Really? I'm going to bring her into that?
So you don't...
So there was never a good time. I talked myself out of it. I would talk myself into it, and then I talk myself out of it.
So you don't not reach out because of you. You don't not reach out for her. Like, you don't want to bring her into these things, so...
Yeah, I don't want to hurt her all over again. Like, I knew I hurt her back in the day, and I cared so much for her, I didn't want to do that again. Like, my life, from the abuse to the murder, it was tumultuous, to say the least. Like, I was off wandering in the desert for 30 years, like, just... going down one bad path after another.
Wow.
And I couldn't bring her into that.
So now you're in jail. You're facing life in prison after the killing. You're withdrawing from drugs. You have a hole in your hand. I mean, what are your options? To plead insanity? Like, do you have any options at this point? What's going on in your mind the first night in jail?
Well, they put me
In the
suicide cell,
yeah.
which is exactly where I needed to be.
Do the lights turn off in there?
No.
I feel like that makes things worse, no? Okay.
My goodness,
They
yes.
put the cameras in there, and it's on you, and it was hell.
I think what's interesting is I was reading through all of like the psychiatric reports that were done when you were in jail. Did you feel like a lab rat? It seems like there's so much debate about your state of mind. Do you feel like you're just being poked and prodded at? And
Yeah, like those psych exams were like nerve-wracking, It was, because some of the stuff they had you do is just,
they would show you pictures and try to get you to describe the scenario, the scene.
Whoa.
It's very
No way.
and then like
Reliving the trauma all over again. That is crazy. I wouldn't want that. No. The past is the past. Man, you can have me describe, man, even describing it is reliving the trauma. I guess there's no other way to do it. That is crazy.
I had to do the the Rorschach test, the ink blots.
Yeah.
And you got to come up with what it looks like. And it's just, oh my God. And I thought one wrong answer, they would he cannot get out for the rest of his life. Boom. I just thought, and the pressure you put yourself under to try to answer things right, that just makes it worse. Cause then you're like, oh, it was, and 500 multiple choice tests. Boom, you gotta take this 500 multiple choice test. And they ask you the same question in that multiple choice test 4 different ways.
Right.
Seeing if you, they'll reword it, but it's the same question to see if you answer differently,
It seems like you were honest. I don't know. This is one. So you were shown a picture that is not provided, but you say that it appears to be a man who's pulling away. She's trying to hold him and talk to him. Maybe he drinks too much and has anger problems.
Whoa.
So it feels like you took these tests very seriously. It doesn't seem like you were trying to answer how they wanted.
Almost feels like I'm talking about Lisa and I.
Yeah. When you get to prison, eventually, you have to carry around a file so that if someone accuses you of being a pedophile, prisoners will show their file. Were there a lot of pedophiles getting beaten up in prison?
There's a lot of fights, but it wasn't necessarily the pedophiles getting beaten up. Believe it or not, the prison likes the pedophiles because they're the snitches.
Whoa.
They use them.
That's so interesting.
To be snitches. So they, they hate what they did, but they use that against them to get info out of them. So on the unit I was on, I was told by my therapist that 2 out of 3, I was told 1 out of 3, closer to 2 out of 3 guys on my unit was there for a crime, mostly involving children. I was like, are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then I was told, one of the guards told me oh yeah, they're our snitches for us. They give us all the dirt on guys.
That is crazy, and that is not far-fetched. Here's why: because they are hated in prison. They go to general population and they're beaten, sometimes to the brink of unalivement. Right, so. The best thing they can do is, man, I'll be a snitch for the guard, so they take care of me, right? I'll be a snitch for the prison, so they take care of me. Because these guys want to bash my head in anyway, so just put me in solitary confinement, or even in general population, I'll tell you what this guy's doing, who's sneaking in the drugs, who's doing this, who's doing that. Makes a lot of sense. But wouldn't that put you in even much bigger danger? Because already your crime is trying to have you unalived. And then them knowing you're a snitch, that is a whole different ball game. Wow, they're living very dangerous lives in prison. Just don't essay people. Just don't. How hard is it?
You hear about a pedophile that gets beaten up in jail. Did you feel anything? Were you just like...
Well, in the county jail, the tier I was on was not supposed to have any. And yet, somehow, I was told by paperwork getting mixed up. Oh. They kept putting pedophiles on my tier in the county jail. And the guards in the county jail hated the pedophiles. The pedophiles in prison, they use them. In the county jail, they hated them. And they would come up to me and be like, that guy that just came on, he's a kitty toucher.
Whoa.
So they would be egging me on to do something.
But that would have made your life exponentially harder as well.
Yeah, and I was cognizant of what will that look like to go to trial, to go to sentencing, and all I've been doing my whole time here is beating up pedophiles. files. Like,
Yeah.
how could they possibly release me then? But I
They want the prisoners to do their dirty work, which is disgusting. You don't do that as a prison guard, but it does happen. If you know Jeffrey Dahmer, who was also a serial killer, he was unalived in jail. And it was so I feel it was planned, because where Jeffrey Dahmer was, there was a black guy there. You think the officer, the prison officer, didn't go to him saying that guy unalived a lot of black people and chopped off their heads and put it in their fridge. He slept with the bodies and slept with the chopped off heads. You think he didn't tell him that? The guy took a dumbbell, bashed his head in with it, and unalived. I think the guards, if they hate you, they'll instigate, they'll create something, and then will take you out. And it's crazy that in prison they use them for information, but in jail, in county jail, they want to unalive them. How is that even right?
would tell them, myself and another guy would go sit down with them. And I did this a couple times early on, and then I just let two other guys, and we would just say, look, man, we got word that you're a kitty toucher. You know what they call them in there? I don't even know if I put it in the book.
I don't think so.
Tree jumper.
Wow.
Whoa.
Think of the guy with an overcoat on, hiding behind a tree, and then a little kid walks by and they jump out and open their overcoat. Tree jumper.
No way.
So like that's what they're called here. Like out west in California, they call them chomos.
Chomo, yeah. I've heard that.
Child molester. Chomos, they call them. But here in Jersey, New York, they're tree jumpers. And sort of, the guards would either say kitty toucher or that's a tree jumper. And we would just be like, sit down with them at a table and be like, look, bro, we're told you're a tree jumper and you got to go. You got to hit the button. You could go over, there's a button by the door and you press the button and the guards would be like, what do you want? And you say, I want to check in. Means protective custody.
Oh.
So I did that a couple times. I'm like, look, if we're wrong, I apologize. But it's not safe for you to stay here because that's the word now. And somebody's going to come after you. And they'd be like, it's not me, man. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. And we'd get up and be like, sorry, bro. And we'd walk away. And within a minute, they'd go over to the button and be like, I need protective custody.
Yeah, this guy's not a bad guy, like in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, and also they always say that. They go to prison and stuff like that, and they always say, oh, it's not me, that's not why I came here. You look into their files and they are chomos, right? This child molesters. So, man, I mean, how do I feel about that? If you look at it morally, this guy is right. But on the other side of things, man, why touch a kid? Why touch a kid? I wouldn't be mad if he had done something to them. They are kid molesters. You put the trauma that was put on this guy is put on the kids, those kids, innocent kids. Now they have to live with the trauma for the rest of their lives. Some of them are able to to manage it till they die. Others are not able to manage it. It messes up their life. So if they're touched in jail, I don't care. I don't. And excuse me to say, I don't. Why touch a kid? Crazy.
So you never wanted to maybe punch one?
I mean, I would have.
No. Like I wasn't there. Like I've said this. Like if I got a life sentence,
Oh yeah.
Maybe you'd
then
punch
all
one.
bets were off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
All of them are
wasn't-
going.
And my therapist told me about how many were on my unit because she didn't want me to do anything stupid. She goes, don't tell the guys on your unit what you're here for.
Yeah.
Because it's called putting a battery pack on your back and amping you up. So she like, if the guys know what you're here for, they're going to put a battery pack on your back and try to get you amped up to go do something stupid. I go, nobody's going to make me do anything I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I go, they're not putting any battery pack on I go, and in the psych exam, they asked me that, like, how do we know you're not a risk to harm other people? And I'm like, unless you were the person who abused me, I'm not out to avenge every pedophile out there. I go, just the one that abused me. So,
What was worse, the mice or the cockroaches?
oof. Well, I was
Dang.
on the top bunk, so I didn't have to necessarily deal with the mice. To me, the cockroaches were worse because they would like fall on you and while you're trying to sleep.
Wow.
Do you want to lay down tonight and have a cockroach fall on you? You scream and you're like, "Ah!" That was in a place called
goodness.
CRAF,
Okay.
CRAF. And that's when you leave the county jail to go to prison, you have to go to this place to get classified which prisons suit you best. And it's they purposely have it as a hellhole to like frighten you from never wanting to come back into the prison system. And the guards are frightening, and the mice are frightening, and the cockroaches are
boy.
frightening, and everything's disgusting. And it's just like, you don't want to go back to craft. Craft was hell.
I mean, how is prison in general? But like, how bad is bad? I mean, I see people are flushing their heads in toilets for drugs, for smoking marijuana.
Well, those toilets are like the
Was it a jump or that was from me? Because I think it jumped over here somewhere.
disgusting, and it's just like, you don't want to go back to craft. Craft was hell.
I mean, how is prison in general? But like, how bad is bad?
okay.
I mean, I see people are flushing their heads in toilets
Yeah, so that's not me. I think it was a cut.
for drugs, for smoking marijuana.
Well, those toilets are like the airplane toilets. You know, it's just like sucks. So if you want to smoke weed, you put your head in your toilet and blow it and hit the button. You can always tell somebody who's smoking weed in their cell because the button goes. You just hear the suction sound going and going and going and going.
Oh,
So guards are just walking by and they just see cellmates with their heads in the toilets.
Well, there's usually only one guard on at a time. There's a guard on the floor, and then there's like two guards in a bubble, and they have to do a walkthrough like every so often. So when they just did their walkthrough, like, all right, I got 2 hours now or whatever it is, or an hour till they do another one, so you can smoke your weed then.
You wrote a good chunk of your book in prison, but you used a prison pen. Can you describe what a prison pen is? How?
They call them security pens.
Okay.
And they're these flexible plastic tubes with a little thing of ink in them. It's just, so you can't stab somebody with it. Like everything in a prison is, can they make a weapon out of this?
Are there lots of weapons being made?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of weapons. If you're knowledgeable about like prison documentaries and stuff like that, or somebody who works in the prison system, bro, they call it shanks out of toothbrushes, out of pens. That is the normal pens, out of anything, like bed frames, stuff you don't even think about. Because think about it, they have 24 hours to be creative, and they get creative in many ways, shapes, or forms. So they have all kinds. They can make things out of pencils, like toothbrushes. They're sharpening it and stuff like that. Things that'll blow your mind. So yeah, most prisons are getting rid of things that are sharp or heavy, or things that could be made weapons out of. Yeah.
Like, I mean, one of the main things they liked where I was at was the tiles in the shower were coming out, so you could like pop a tile off and then carve it down into a point,
That too. Yeah.
But I didn't see any stabbings. It was just fights. It was fist fights.
Were you ever involved in any?
No.
That's so interesting how you were able to keep to yourself pretty well.
Yeah, I didn't have any fights in the county jail, and I had one incident in prison. We lined up for the shower, and this big guy
Oh, no.
He was not mentally all there, so which you always have to be cognizant of. He went around everybody to the front of the line, and everybody started moaning. And for whatever reason, they looked at me like,
Handle
say
it.
something. So I go up to him, and I'm like, hey, bro, we're all waiting in line. You gotta wait at the end of the line. I'm next. I go, come on, man. We're all being cool. Just, you can't just cut the line. I'm next. So now, do I want to fight and go to the hole over this guy getting in front of the shower? So I just said, whatever, bro. Like it wasn't worth me getting into a fight or going to the hole over a guy cutting in line of the shower who has clearly some form of mental illness.
How bad is the hole? Have you been to the hole? Never been in the hole?
No.
You've heard of the hole?
Yeah.
Does it seem bad?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a dumb question. Yeah, that was fair. Like,
I mean, I was in a suicide cell for 4 weeks. That's bad.
Really?
That's like the
Okay.
hole. You get nothing. You get no book. You can't get commissary. It's just misery. You don't get out.
How long did it actually feel to you?
The suicide one?
The 4 weeks.
Yeah, that was long because the suicide cell was right next to the intake, so people would be coming in like drugged out, off the wall, loud, screaming, wanting to fight the guards. There was women that were wanting to fight the guards, spitting on them. Always commotion. There's other suicide cells there, so you got guys screaming all hours of the night.
No way.
It's cold. It's freezing at times. It was just miserable.
so it did not make you less suicidal. It made you more. Okay.
No suicide cells, though. But it's very tough to kill yourself in there. So
Interesting.
I was in the right spot, as miserable as it was, because early on, that's all I could think about.
While you're there waiting to figure out what happens, I mean, there's a lot of discourse on whether or not your charge should be dropped to manslaughter. There's a lot of back and forth with the prosecutors. But one of the main things that keeps happening is more victims come forward.
Yeah.
I mean, is that kind of a weird feeling? Because on one hand, you're happy your legal case is getting stronger. But on the other hand, like, it must be very depressing to know that there's more. Like, more people, more trauma. Or did you feel, in a sense, like maybe we can, in a sense, get through it together? Maybe this is some closure for people. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, well, I mean, early on as a kid, you think you're alone. You think you're the only one. Later on, my lawyer's like, between the state police, the prosecutor's office, my office, we're taking so many calls about victims.
Oh,
He even said
goodness.
at times it's hard to keep up with. That it hurts, but it also helps your case. Like it corroborates what you did wasn't just being drunk looking for a thrill kill, like some idiot said. It's tough to like know that you need other people's pain to come forward to help you,
Yeah.
But hopefully it would help them to like speak out, because that's the only way you can heal is to speak out.
You said, like some idiot said. I had the article from
Oh,
the
boy.
idiot. Okay, I'm going to read snippets of this article, but I do have questions later because
And I don't know if we should use his name. I don't even want to give him.
he's deceased. Yeah.
Who, the guy who wrote that?
Yeah. Ernest is dead.
Really?
Yeah. I know. We did share a little chuckle over that one. Yeah.
Okay, read away. Yeah. Wow, that's unbelievable.
Hey, we all have some level of vindictiveness in us, man. He's like, Don't even say his name. Don't read his name. Oh, he passed away. And then you start to see him giggle. He's like, hey, read away. We all have it. Regardless of if you're good, you're bad. He's been good the whole time. He hears somebody pass away and look at his face right here. That's interesting.
I'm not supposed to mourn, am I? Wow, you just blew me away with that.
Look at him.
Smokes, you guys really did your work.
His article is crazy.
That?
Yeah.
Who's
It's
Anders?
a very intense article. And I'm curious to know if you read it while you were in jail, but it reads, Dennis Pegg was the kindest, most considerate, and gentlest man to ever have graced the earth.
Oh, I now understand why he was happy when he... Are you serious right now? Yeah. I see why he was happy. I
did read it.
You did read it?
Yeah, you get the papers in there. And I didn't read it at the time because I was in suicide cell when it was written, but it was mailed in to me and I read it.
It is disgusting that certain lowlifes only now are coming out from under a rock to besmirch the stellar reputation of a man who can no longer defend himself.
Bro, are you kidding me right now? Hell no. Anders, good, you're gone. I'm also happy. How about that? You crazy? Bro, this is what I keep saying. If you don't know anything about a case, just watch, right? And if you have nothing good to say, shut the hell up. This guy unalived him, right? And then the Polaroids were retrieved. Things were retrieved. Everything corroborated the story that he was abusive. Not just that. Multiple people started coming out. Multiple people. The Polaroids showed it. Everything else, not everything else, but most of the evidence were there. You have nothing good to say. So, you love this guy so much. You had his pee so deep down your throat that you will still defend him despite the evidence, despite people coming out. Bro, are you crazy? Yeah, bye-bye. It's good you're gone. I'm not sorry saying that. I'm not.
So a victim is a lowlife.
Did you have any sort of, what was your reaction when you're reading these words? I know it wasn't right away, but...
It hurt. To be... to see someone...
So stupid.
Speak so highly about a predator. You had... Everybody heard rumors. Mm-hmm. This guy had to hear rumors too. But to discount that and build this guy up as something he wasn't, you can't rape little boys and do something good and just people focus on the good. No, you're little boys.
Yeah.
Any good you do is out the window. And yet Ernest wanted to just focus on the good.
Wait, did we talk about who wrote this article?
Yes, his name is Ernest, and he was very friendly with Dennis Pegg. Very close friends, and also his attorney. He also owed Dennis Pegg $12,000. I mean, the things you can find on the internet are very strange. I don't know. But he is since deceased, but I just find it unthinkable, because even if I had a friend, but all these victims are coming forward, there's no way that you can write these types of words.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, he had to know the rumors, and yet you're going to call me a lowlife coming out from under a rock, and you're going to build Dennis Pegg up as this pillar of society. I don't know how you do that.
Crazy.
I don't know how Ernest lived with himself after writing that article.
Most people, they support you, but are there more Ernests out there? Do you see people writing stuff like this about you? Have people said things like this to you?
No, just the internet trolls. When I'll do something, you can't get away from them. Maybe you don't have them, but
no, there's no escape.
Yeah, but I'll get a, and I don't know what joy they get out of it. Like, because when I do any type of interview, I put my heart and soul in it. Everything can be corroborated. I'm not lying about anything.
People think you're lying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like this story is BS. Like, what is BS? It's Google my name. Yeah. And
don't listen to them. Their lives are BS. I mean, there are people who still live in their mama's basements and stuff like that. They don't know what they want in life. They will troll everything to death. And actually, some people do believe it. They're just stupid trolls. They're stupid trolls that would get a rise or a kick out of being stupid. So don't listen to them. They're not worth your time.
Early on, I would try to interact with the internet trolls just to be and then they vanish. You don't hear from them. So I just gave up trying to why bother?
Don't interact.
But yeah, as far as
yes.
people in my community, no, I don't hear anything from what Ernest wrote back then. I don't see that.
But okay. I looked up Dennis Pegg's obituary.
Oh, isn't that horrific?
Yeah. And I thought surely it's going to be a 5-sentence ordeal where maybe the family is like, okay, he's gone. We're in mourning. He's survived by these people. It's like 1.5, 2 pages. It's talking about his time in the Boy Scouts extensively. Has anyone in his family reached out to apologize? Have they said anything to you?
No, I've been asked that, because people are like, did anybody in the family ever say I'm sorry, for what happened to you by our brother, by our uncle, by whoever? And no, nobody ever reached out. And they were all interviewed by the prosecutor. Mm-hmm. And not one person made mention of Dennis having a traumatic childhood. It's a falsehood that those abused become abusers. I had a therapist who worked in a diagnostic center for pedophiles. She said 100% coming in the door said I was abused as a child.
Wow.
They would give them all lie detector tests. 75% failed when asked, were you abused as a child? So they all use that to try to garner sympathy for their actions instead of just saying I'm evil and I do evil things.
Yeah, and narcissistic pieces of rats, turds like them would hardly admit that they're evil. Every one of them. Ted Bundy, he blamed pornography for him unaliving women. John Wayne Gacy, he called those boys that he unalived worthless and stuff like that. None of them. I think I'm naming serial killers here. They don't accept their fault. It will never happen. It is somebody else. It is because I essayed, God forbid, but I essayed her because she wore something too skimpy. It's nothing about them. It's crazy. He lied that he was traumatized, knowing that he wasn't traumatized. All his family never mentioned trauma. This guy is he was born a piece of rat's turd. He was born like a stupid idiot who wasn't supposed to do this stuff, but chose to do it anyway. He wasn't abused. Crazy.
And so none of his family will really acknowledge it, but wasn't his nephew a victim?
Yeah, his great nephew committed suicide after I was arrested, and he shot himself. And everybody I know, and I know people really close to him, said what a wonderful kid he was. And yet he took his life after my arrest, and they found actual images on Dennis's computer of the nephew.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, bro. Oh my goodness. it makes what Anna said even worse. People coming out of the rocks talking crap. Yeah, you stay under the rocks. Stay under there since you're not coming out anymore. Bro, really? And that was his great nephew. His great nephew, bro. Which means his kids and his brothers or siblings' kids had kids, and somewhere there was a nephew, great nephew, if you trace it to him. And dude still did that to a great nephew. The more I hear the story, the more I think he had it easy. His unalivement was easy. He had it easy. He needed somebody to be bashing something on top of his head while this guy was chucking the heck out of him. Are you crazy? I don't want to hear anybody defending this rat's
Your
turd.
arrest like trigger something? Do you believe that has your arrest like trigger something?
Yeah, I mean, just like it opened my brother's Pandora's box, it probably opened Dylan's Pandora's box as well.
Ernest writes in the article, that is the definition of a coward. That you guys are only coming out now that Dennis is dead. That's what they all are, cowards, plain and simple. Do you feel like what you did was cowardly in any way?
No. I went there, like I said, basically on a suicide mission. I was ready to give my life that night. Like he should have had a handgun 10 different spots in that house. And as soon as I opened that front door, I should have been shot dead.
Bro, this is crazy. Listen to this. That is ridiculous. I mean,
like he should have had a handgun 10 different spots in that house.
definitely. How can you say they're coming out after he died, knowing that this guy did it, and he did it for revenge? So that doesn't apply to him, and that shouldn't even apply to anybody. They're all victims of that stupid rat stirred. You mean to tell me you're not believing any of these guys, and you're believing that guy? That is the most stupid thing I've ever heard.
And as soon as I opened that front door, I should have been shot dead.
It's interesting because a lot of people say that the worst thing you can do to another person is take away their life. But is that really true? Because it almost makes it seem like then what you did is worse than his crime.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people say, like, you murdered. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I did. And that's why I'm in the position I am to advise every other victim to not follow my path. I did things wrong. I led a self-destructive life. I should have healed early on. I should have talked about this early on. And that's one of the main reasons for me being here on your program, is because you have a younger demographic, I feel. And that's the age I want to reach, so people can hear from me that what I did didn't heal me. It just created more problems, more trauma. I was ready to kill myself. I was ready to do life in prison. And you don't have to forfeit your life because you were abused. You can heal from it. And I'm healing now. And I want people to see that. And I want them to follow my footsteps now versus how I lived earlier.
But do you feel like Dennis also killed something in all of his victims?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a former lieutenant of a police department who is a professor at Seton Hall, and he equated childhood abuse to soul murder. You murder the soul of that child.
Yeah.
And I agreed with him 1,000% on that.
There is this interesting moment where, okay, well, first of all, your murder charge, first-degree murder charge, is brought down to manslaughter. So
Good.
at some point, the prosecution, they come around. Is that
It
how
took
you...
3 years. I had that first-degree murder hanging over my head for 3 years in the county jail. There is no such thing as a speedy trial when it comes to a murder. And our psych eval from our side got delayed, and it got presented to the prosecutor just before that like a couple months before the 3-year mark. And in that psych evaluation is everything laid out, like the abuse, the murder. It's not like a whodunit anymore. And between all the victims that came forward and then reading that psych evaluation, the prosecutor offered me a plea deal to second-degree manslaughter. And second-degree manslaughter carries 5 to 10 versus 30 to life for first-degree murder.
Okay, that is another thing that was so interesting. I feel like a lot of cases that we work on, the psych evaluations from the defense and the prosecution, it's like reading 2 different books from 2 different planets. Yours, we had difficulty being like, wait, this is the prosecution's psych evaluation. They're identical.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And what's really crazy is my defense came out of the prosecutor's psych eval. He came out and said, I feel passion provocation fits Clark perfectly. And he explained why. And passion provocation had never been used 30 plus years after the fact. Passion provocation is the husband comes home and his wife's in bed with the mailman and he freaks out and kills one of them or both. That's passion provocation. This was being used 30 plus years after the initial abuse. And there's 4 factors to it, and he fit me into all 4 factors in the present day and how it fit. So like their side came up with my defense because we had initially come up with diminished capacity.
There is this interesting thing in the book where they do say the problem, though, is that you're a decent human being. And so they say that's the problem because now with the manslaughter charge, they're saying that you will have trouble living with yourself unless you pay a debt to society.
Unless I'm punished.
Do you agree with that?
Strangely, yeah. Yeah, because I've said to people, like some of the trolls, like I'm like I paid my debt, like I did what I was ordered to do, and it gave me time to think about life, to redirect my life, to think about what I wanted to do with my life. I needed to be away from drugs and alcohol. I needed to bring healing. I needed to confront my demons. And being locked up, even though I was in hell, prison is hell, I was able to do that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. One thing, though, I will say is I'm going to insane interview with the prosecutor that was on your case. I thought it was the most... You guys have such interesting interactions. I'm like, how do you interact with someone that was trying to, at least at some point, make you stay in prison for the rest of your life? Is it right? Is it a weird dynamic, or you guys are just buds? Like what?
Actually, this morning at the hotel before I came here to meet you, guess who I got a text from? The prosecutor saying, and this is what he said. He goes, "I'm sorry I missed your book signing. I was in the hospital. Please save me an autographed book."
No, because you have some very interesting friendships. I mean, you're friends with a lot of the officers that arrested you.
Yeah.
You're friends with the lead prosecutor on your case.
Yep.
You're friends with a lot of like the forensic teams that probably processed the crime scene.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, that tells you that they know this guy was innocent. They knew that Dennis Peck guy was a piece of rat's turd. Now, he said something interesting when talking about his case. He said they brought his defense. The prosecution brought his defense. They said, what? A passion provocation or something like that. So it was like, oh, okay. I mean, we were trying to plead this, and then they brought the passion provocation thing. They knew it. They knew this guy did the right thing, but it's like it's the world and everybody's got to do their job, right? So they've got to act like they're going to prosecute him for unaliving a piece of rat's turd, a pig right there. So, I mean, I'm not surprised they're friends.
My biggest supporter
Yeah.
throughout all of this has been law enforcement.
Wow.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, from the
Wow.
very get go, starting with Howie Ryan at the. Actually, it started on my steps of my house when I was arrested. The guy who gave me that state police shirt, he was there. He was supposed to be getting off. He heard my name mentioned, and he told his sergeant, "I know that guy. He's a friend of mine. Let me go to the house in case this goes sideways. I want to be able to talk to Clark." And when I was arrested on my front steps, he came up to me and he said quietly, "Dude, don't say a word." And then it went to Howie Ryan at the state police station. And then in the county jail, I thought because Dennis Pegg worked there,
Yeah.
because we heard the rumors 30 plus years ago about him waiting outside taking inmates home. Nothing ever happened. I thought for sure he was protected, and I thought for sure I'd get the beating of a lifetime in there. And one by one, guards came into the suicide cell and said, I never worked with the guy. I'm hearing what an animal he was. Just hang in there. Keep your mouth shut. Don't talk to anybody. And that was like guy after guy after guy would tell me that.
I mean, that's so
Amazing.
rare. I mean, you usually see a lot of stories of, I guess, the blue wall of cops protecting cops. So
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah. Wow.
He was probably a piece of shit in jail anyway. Plus, I'm just hoping him saying this wouldn't bring backlash to them where they're at. I hope not. But he was a piece of shit anyway. So his people didn't even like him.
So you walk into the courtroom to give your statement. What is that like?
That was torturous. You know, like I can sit here with you now and talk and people will comment on, you know, a few other podcasts I've done, like, oh, I don't know how you can talk so easily about such trauma. Well, you want to see my first speech? Go, look at my courtroom speech on YouTube. It's horrific. I'm shrinking down, trying to make myself so small. I'm just wanting to hide. I can't get words out. I'm like stuttering. I'm breaking down, crying, sniveling. From the time that I was 8 years old until I was 12 years old, I was sexually assaulted and raped by Dennis Pegg. It started out with him wanting to touch my scar that I had from open heart surgery at the age of 6. It progressed to wrestling matches and eventually led to him raping me. At the time, Dennis Pegg was a sheriff's officer, a scoutmaster of Troop Number 83 in Stillwater, and a close friend of our family. Dennis Pegg told me that he had sexual relations with a close family relative and also my childhood friend, Jeff Hall. He described those relations in detail, and I believed him. He told me that he got drunk and naked with one of my close relatives and with Jeff. And he said he'd taken pictures of them naked. He showed me Polaroid photographs that he said he had taken of other young boys and men unclothed.
Bro, you could never get rid of trauma, man. I wish he would not pay attention to trolls that will come here, making him having to prove that it was traumatic. Like he said, if you think I'm not crying, I'm saying this easily, go look at my court photos. Mr. Clark, Fredericks, you don't need to prove yourself to anybody. That is your story. You went through what you went through. Your story hasn't changed listening to the court statement right now. Your story still remains the same as you're saying it. You mentioned the Polaroid, everything. You don't need to prove yourself to anybody. You don't. If they decide not to listen to you, Mr. Clark, leave them alone. There are a lot of rats, turds around that will just rile you up for nothing. It's insane that some people can just get a freaking computer and then type trash.
Jeff committed suicide on February 10th, 1983, with a shotgun to his head.
Wow.
I was a junior in high school. My brother Jay and I ran to Jeff's house after his sister Brenda came to our house covered in blood, crying hysterically. I remember standing in the living room of Jeff's house with my brother. We got there before the authorities arrived. I saw a puddle of blood on his bathroom floor.
Bro, I'm hurting. I
always
can't.
believed that Jeff killed himself as a result of Dennis.
I'm sorry, but man, damn, bro. Like, nah, man. Nah.
Peg's abuse. As an adult, I visited Jeff's grave at least twice a year. Every Christmas Eve, I went to visit him. But that's how confronting your trauma goes early on. It's tough. It's tough the first couple conversations.
Wow.
People avoid it because they want to avoid that, but that's how you get past it. So I look at that courtroom video as a stepping stone to being able to sit here with you now and talk, fluently about it.
But when you're on your way out of that courtroom, everybody starts clapping.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
It was pretty amazing. It wasn't. They weren't clapping for me murdering a pedophile. They were clapping for me confronting my trauma finally, and I actually got a standing ovation.
Wow.
Which was pretty amazing. And the guards that took me back out of the courtroom into the holding cell, they said to me, "Wow, that was a first." And I'm like, "What's that?" And they're like, "Never have I seen somebody admit to murdering somebody and get a standing ovation for it." So I was like, and they're like, "That was some speech you gave. Good job."
Did it make you feel less lonely when people were clapping? Like, what is the feeling? Did you feel, is that them showing support? Did you feel less lonely? What was the feeling?
I think they could all tell how painful it was to get through what I got through.
And when it comes to sentencing, I mean, it seems like the judge is in a kind of a tricky situation because it seems like there's a lot of debate about what's justice in your case of, okay, well, typically justice looks like X amount of years. But that doesn't really feel right in this case. But was there some sort of concern that if they didn't give you enough time that other people would start going out and taking justice into their own hands? Was that like a huge...
Well, that was one of the things, that was mentioned. And my lawyer had me brace myself for the high end of the sentencing.
Which was 10 years, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
He goes, I really can't see anything less than 8 years. He goes, I'd be... Just brace yourself for 8 to 10 years. He had put in a motion to sentence me to 3 to 5 years, because if you have never been arrested, even though I had all those run-ins with those 3-letter agencies, I was never arrested. And he put in a motion to have me sentenced to a third-degree crime. And I had enough time in where, had the judge gone with that, I would have been released. But so he goes, all this motion that I'm putting in gives a wider sentencing range. And the judge, he took a lot of deliberation, and he said a lot of things that got me like really excited. And I'm thinking of liberating Mr. Fredericks at this moment. And I know Mr. Fredericks only did what he did because of what was done to him. And then in the end, he said, I'm not going to go... I'm not going to acknowledge, the motion for third-degree crime. I am going to sentence you to the minimum 5 years, and I apologize for having to send you to prison for a single day. Wow.
Wow.
The judge gives me the minimum and apologizes for giving me the minimum.
That's such a weird feeling. I mean, it's the same thing with Howard Ryan apologizing to you. I mean,
Yeah.
It's kind of... I wonder if it's a confusing feeling.
Yeah, that's why I say I think everybody in law enforcement, look, a judge isn't supposed to have excommunication, excommunicado communications outside of the courtroom with anybody. They're human, so he's going to probably hear rumors about Dennis Pegg as well.
Yeah.
Right.
And the prosecutor ran a dual investigation on what I did and what Dennis Pegg had been up to for his whole life. And it was obvious what Dennis was doing. Everybody knew. And it got uncovered. And, they don't want to justify what I did. They still wanted to punish me. And at the end of the day, I still had to do 5 years. It's no walk in the park. It's still 5 years. And, but I had like the perfect storm. I'm in a little small town, a little small county with a monster who had a 45-year reign of terror, who everybody heard something eventually, except maybe Ernest Hemshot, who had his ears plugged. Everybody heard something about Dennis Pegg. And at the end of the day, I got the minimum. I don't think that's going to happen to anybody else. You're not going to get this type of perfect storm if you go do what I did. And that's why, and you do not want to try to heal from abuse in prison. Prison is hell. I am the rarity. I was able to do it. I was able to start my healing, getting locked up. But man, don't think you're gonna follow my footsteps. Start healing now, and instead of like following me to prison like I did. You don't want to do that.
What was the first thing you did when you got out of prison?
Very first thing, my niece picked me up. I'm very close with my niece Kim, and she insisted on picking me up, and we went right to a diner.
What'd you order?
Oh my God, I had eggs, sausage, bacon, pancakes, everything, and just...
Wait, do you not get... Okay, what was like your prison... Like, what do you eat in prison? Sorry.
This is what... In prison, the food was tough. I ate 6 nights a week. I had ramen noodles and mackerel. with hot sauce and honey.
That's an interesting combination.
And that was 6 nights a week. On Sunday nights, they gave you real chicken. They gave you a chicken leg. So I would eat the chicken. But the other 6 nights, I had ramen noodles and mackerel.
Wow. So you go to
Ramen noodles, mackerel with hot sauce and honey. My stomach is churning right now. Oh my goodness, I haven't even taken a bite and I want to use the toilet. What?
a diner and you order everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And what everything from jail to prison is gluten. And I was in agony my whole 5 years, like doubled over, in pain, agonizing pain, because I had celiac. I didn't know it. And I lived on Maalox and Tums for 5 years. And so getting out and just going to a diner and getting real food, that was great.
But after you get out, what happens with your brother?
Yeah, nobody wanted me. I needed a place to live. And my lawyer didn't want me going to my mother's. My mother didn't want me coming to my mother's. My niece, my sister, nobody wanted me going to my mother's because my brother was there. He got divorced when I was locked up. He lost his business when I was locked up. He lost his 33-acre horse farm when I was locked up. And nobody wanted me to come home because he was in such bad shape. But it was either that or a homeless shelter. So I just said, let me just get out of here and we'll figure things out afterwards. So I went home with my brother and mother.
You suspect that he was a victim of Dennis Pegg. He knows you were, but you guys never, even when you get out of prison, you don't talk about it.
No. My brother didn't want to confront anything, didn't want to talk about anything. It's quite often the case, like members of family won't talk about what happened. And I thought when I was in prison, sitting in my prison cell, I would have these amazing conversations with my brother when I got out. And then when I got out and the shape he was in, the path he was on, it was difficult.
Do you think he felt guilty that he didn't protect you from his
I'm sure that's part of it also. He said numerous times, I should have been the one that killed Dennis. He said that over and over to me. Yeah.
When did you find him?
It was 2 years ago this past February. He was spiraling. He had gotten sober for 9 months, but he was like a dry brush ready to catch fire. He wasn't doing anything spiritually, therapy-wise. I finally got him to go to the gym, start working out. So he eventually started drinking again. And even on his last day of life, I went to the gym and I said to the gym owner, was my brother in today? He goes, yeah. He goes, he wasn't feeling that swift, but he was here. I said, okay, that's a good sign. And I went home and his truck was in the driveway. And I went upstairs and there he was on the kitchen floor. And I thought he had killed himself. I thought he had shot himself, and I started screaming at him, how could you? And then I got closer, and there was no gunshot wound. And I called 911, and I started CPR. And I did CPR until the ambulance got there. CPR is exhausting, and it took every ounce of me to keep going until they arrived, and then they worked on him for an hour. But he was long gone by the time I found him.
Do you think Dennis Pegg killed your brother?
Yes. Yep. And There's been times where I wish I could resurrect Dennis after my brother's death
Why?
to do it all over again.
Same thought. That is what I thought. I was thinking the same thing. Looking at what unfolded after he died, I think he had the easiest death. To be honest with you, he did. Like resurrecting him just to tell him die again, perfect. And in fact, more gruesome than it was. Maybe gouge his eyes first, cut off his earlobe, like put some ice pick through his nostrils, like something crazy like that.
My next door neighbor, Jeff, who was like a brother to me, put a shotgun in his mouth at age 23 and blew his head off. And my brother and I found him in his house. Then
This is tragic.
So not only do I find Jeff, then I have to find my brother. And I blame Dennis for both of their deaths.
Oh my goodness, man.
Yeah.
So since prison, since you killed Dennis, you haven't. Have you drank? Have you done drugs? Have
Nope.
you-
This past June, I celebrated 13 years sober.
Wow. Was it hard?
The first 2 years were in jail. And therapists will tell you 18 to 30 months it takes for your brain to rewire itself from the pleasure chemicals of drugs and alcohol. And during those first 2 years, here I'm facing life in prison. And I'm saying to myself, I cannot wait to see if I get out from under this life sentence so I can have a glass of red wine and a line of cocaine, because they went perfect together. And I would say that to guys on the tier that I was friends with. I'd be like, man, I can't wait to do a line of coke with a glass of red wine. And then sometime after that second year, it just like a light just like hit me. Like a meteorite came into my being. And I was like, are you out of your mind? Like, you can never go back to that. I can never go back to living like the animal I was. Like that died that night with Dennis, living that way. And I snapped out of it. That was it.
Wow. And no gambling, nothing.
No.
Instead, it seems like you've been very busy changing laws.
Yeah.
What happened in New Jersey? What's going on there?
There was advocates working for 15 to 20 years to get a new statute of limitations law. What statute of limitations law allows is for victims of sexual abuse to sue their abuser or the organization that harbored their abuser. Mm-hmm. We had the worst law in the country. Our law stated in New Jersey that at age 18, when you officially became an adult, you had 2 years to file a lawsuit. So if you got sexually abused at 8, 10, 12, 15, you're going to come forward at 18 to file a lawsuit? It basically was a dead law. Like nobody's going to do that.
That is crazy. What a stupid law. I'm glad it's been changed. That is one of the worst. If you turn 18, you have 2 years to file a lawsuit, else statute of limitations. You can't do anything about it. Meanwhile, the trauma that's left on you is left on you for a lifetime. You're telling me you're putting statute of limitations on how far I can sue somebody who did something like that to me? Crazy. Crazy. This is what gets me riled up. Hearing laws like that favors perpetrators instead of victims. The perpetrator didn't have a time limit on essaying you and destroying your life, but you get a time limit on suing them. Crazy.
So our statistics said that people don't talk about their abuse until age 48 to 52 is the norm. So we championed a law that took the age up to 55. And what was really holding it up is we wanted a 2-year open window where when the law went into effect, a 2-year clock started ticking where anyone, no matter what age, the law went up to 55, but in that 2-year window, you could be 85, 75, 65 and come forward and file a lawsuit.
Great.
And the Catholic Church were the ones fighting that law. At every hearing, their lawyers were there opposing the law, saying it would bankrupt the Catholic Church. They literally said, your sons and daughters' parochial school will go out of business if this law is passed.
I mean, how
Yeah, stupid, because my goodness, man. So listen, why fight the law? Well, because you know something's happening, right? And if you didn't want to get bankrupt, it's not about covering up stuff. It is about making sure the people in charge do not, as a people, do not.
Saying it would bankrupt the Catholic Church. They literally said, your sons and daughters' parochial school will go out of business if this law is passed.
I mean, how do people maintain any court decorum and in that situation? I mean, it makes you want to scream in the courtroom.
Yeah, it was. The Catholic Church it really gets me wound up, and it's not to do with your faith.
Yeah.
It's to do with the hierarchy and the way it's run, and what they've allowed, and they've harbored their priests to keep them from facing justice, and they're sending their lawyers to stop a law to help victims, and yet they come out and say we're all for victims. No, you're not. You're not.
Yeah, and this is not an attack to the Catholic faith. I'm glad he's pointed that out. This is not about the faith. This is about the hierarchy, the people in charge, those who have done hideous things and are trying to cover it up. That is what it is all about. So don't take it in a wrong way, like, oh yeah, I'm Catholic and he's talking against us. It's not about you. It's not about what you believe. It's not about your faith. It is about some people at the top, and they're fighting this law, and they are rats turds, the people who are fighting the law.
And so you spearhead that. What is it in New Jersey now?
The law, we got it passed finally, unanimously. I worked for 2 years as an advocate.
Oh my goodness.
I had a lawyer say, your story's so over the top, maybe you can use it to sway some of the senators that are holding up the law. And that's what we did. We started meeting with senators, and 2 years later, it went up for vote, and it passed unanimously.
Wow.
And we went from the worst law in the country to the strongest law. So, victims have up until age 55 to come forward, so it gives them plenty of time to heal. And that 2-year window did happen. It went into effect. And, it's something like if you told me back when I have a mob hit on me, that I'm going to work as an advocate and change laws, I'd be like, really? Yeah, you think so? I think you're delusional, Steph.
Man.
But that's exactly what happened. And myself and every other advocate that worked on that law can go to their grave, knowing we accomplished something great.
Have you been to Dennis Pegg's grave?
No.
Okay.
No. I know a couple people who reached out to me and sent me private messages on Facebook saying they visited it.
Oh, we had half a mind to go and spit on it.
Yeah.
They did something a little worse to it.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
They did it. It's fine.
They got.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, man. But visit it, spit on it, pee on it. What? No, don't pee on it, please. Maybe spit on it. Maybe flip him off. Yeah, that'll be satisfying. He's a rat's turd.
Covered for all of us. And people, if anybody's just listening and be like, oh, you're talking bad.
Yeah.
You really did that to somebody. The guy was a monster. He wasn't a human. I've said that over. I can't stress enough. A literal devil. The devil. What more could you stereotype the devil as than what this guy was?
Yeah. There's no salvation for someone like that. You did something interesting in prison.
Uh-oh.
Where are you going with this, Steph? I don't even know.
Uh-oh.
You helped someone write a love letter.
I helped a Spanish guy who was facing 10 years, and he had an English girlfriend, and he did not have command of the English language. And he asked me, would I write a love letter to his girlfriend about, how much he loved her, and please wait for him, and he'll be back. And
did it work?
I don't know. He got shipped off to prison, and that's the last I ever saw of him. So
in my mind, it works.
Yeah. So no, I wrote letters for guys to their lawyers, to their public defenders, to the judge, and to their family members. I felt I needed to do stuff for other people to make myself feel better in that situation. Just like I needed to do good things because I was in such a dark spot when I was locked up. So I constantly did that.
So you never wrote a letter to like a college sweetheart?
Nope.
Did you think about it?
I did. And I thought, I'll never get to see Lisa again. I'll never get that chance, to ride off into the sunset, swoop her up off her feet, especially early on when I was facing life for those 3 years. And then I never heard from her. And I'm like, all right, well, that's that.
I mean, how?
Man, you can tell he still thinks about Lisa. I don't know, but anytime he talks about her, you could tell like the passion in which he talks about Lisa. I can bet that if Lisa's still single and he's single and they met right now, he'd probably give her a chance. He still has those feelings, pre-jail feelings about Lisa still. That's how I feel.
Often did you think about your college sweetheart?
I thought about her my whole life. Like she was inside my skull scratching.
Yeah, I could tell.
Like tormenting me.
Yeah.
Clarky, why, Clarky? Why? Why could you not commit to me? And just the shame of that. Like victims love to just shame themselves. So that would add shame to my shame. And then doing drugs would add shame to my shame. And getting involved with the mob would add shame to my shame. And not being able to tell my father would add shame to my shame. So like we're just constantly shaming ourselves. And so Lisa was just another source of shame. And so no, I never. I thought I missed my chance. And after that law passed, that law took up a lot of time. I was working full time. I was speaking. Started motivational speaking. And then when the law passed, I'm like, what now? And I was working as a chef, assistant chef at a busy restaurant. I'm driving home late at night one night, and I'm like, I either want to get a pit bull or a girlfriend.
Oh, whoa.
This is a crazy multiple choice.
So pit bull, girlfriend, pit bull, girlfriend. And
Yo.
I'm like, it's not fair to any girl I get involved with if I'm still thinking about Lisa.
So you never stopped thinking about
my
Lisa?
goodness.
Never did.
And you could tell if you're a guy, you could tell if somebody is enamored with someone. I would have said that earlier, but I wanted the interview to go on. I didn't know questions about Lisa will come later. And you could tell how excited and how in tune with his emotions back then that he was with Lisa. You could tell he's still tapping into that emotion and he still feels something for Lisa. I'm telling you, you can tell. It's evident. It's written all over.
And I'm like, to get into a new relationship, to get into any relationship, I've got to confront Lisa. I found her on Facebook.
Whoa.
And I drafted up a long Facebook message and I deleted it. And I drafted up another message. And my thumb hung over the send button. And I debated, is it better to keep the fantasy? Maybe I'm just making it up in my mind how amazing our love was and how passionate we were for each other. Maybe like time has made me delusional and it wasn't really all I think it is.
Because you hadn't seen her since you were 20.
I was probably 23 and she was 22.
And how old are you
Dang.
at this point?
When I got released, I'm 50 years old. And then I worked on the law for a couple of years. So now I'm like 52, 53.
Wow. Okay, and now you're like, I don't know. But you send it, right?
So do you keep the fantasy alive and not send it? Or do you pull up your big boy pants and say, let's see what the hell's going to happen here? And you send it. You gotta
Send
Steph.
it.
You got to take chances. So I sent it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was literally like a crackhead waiting for his dealer to call him back. Like, I check my phone. I'm at work. I had to check my phone 100 times.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have sent it. And then she replied.
Whoa.
And then I replied. And then she replied. And I replied. And she replied.
Was it awkward? Was it?
No, it instantly started to flow. She
Whoa.
thought I couldn't commit to her all those years ago because I didn't love her. And that wasn't the case. I explained that to her. And I explained it was because of all the pain I was harboring inside, and I just couldn't be intimate with somebody.
Yeah.
And
Has she heard about what happened at all?
yeah, like I said, my one roommate and her one roommate ended up married.
Oh yeah.
And her
Oh,
roommate
yeah.
reached out to her and filled her in. She had written me 3 letters, I believe, when I was locked up, and she ended up ripping them up because she just wasn't ready to open that door again. She just couldn't let herself feel vulnerable at that moment.
Yeah.
Now that I was released, she allowed herself to be vulnerable and opened up. And I said, why don't we meet for coffee? She was in New York. I was in New Jersey. Again, she's still thinking I didn't love her. I'm telling her I did.
Oh my goodness.
She's not really believing me.
Oh,
So I brought
man.
ammunition with me to that first coffee meeting to prove to her that I did, in fact, love her.
What?
What was that?
She had written me a lot of love letters and cards back in the day, and I had saved them. And over the years, whenever I would start lamenting her, I would get out these love letters and reread them and feel connected. Whenever I would feel a gap between us forming, I would get her love letters out and reread them and get that bond back together.
So, Clark, you were keeping the Bluetooth connection intact because you were not allowing yourself to let go. Wow. You love that girl, Lisa. I'm sorry, woman, Lisa. Yeah, let's give her that respect. Oh, wow. So when Clark said ammunition the first time, I thought literal ammunition. I was about to say, whoa, wait a minute. What? Ammunition? And then, yeah, it was a metaphor for the letters. Bro, for some reason, I forgot there was an interview about a killer. I'm just enamored with the love story. I hope everything goes well for Clark and for Lisa, whether they end up together or not. But I would wish they ended up together. We'll see some romance sparking here.
And I brought a briefcase with me to the coffee shop.
No way.
And she said, do you always bring a briefcase with you when you have coffee? And I said, there's something inside there I want you to see that will show you that I loved you. And I opened it up and I took out all the love letters from when she was 21 years old and 20 years old and 22 years old. And we sat there rereading them, and that sort of sealed the deal. And I told her, this is how I stayed connected with you over those 30 plus years.
Dang.
You didn't really talk to her during those 30 years.
No,
You
there was
just
not
read
one
these-
word, nothing between us.
You just read these letters.
Yeah.
Wow.
And stayed connected that way with her.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Now I don't want this to get back to the killer anymore. Like, where's Lisa now? And what's going on? Like, please connect them, Stephanie. Connect them. Forget about Dennis Peg. In fact, screw Dennis Peg. He's where he is, in the ground. Now let's talk about Lisa, man. Please. Like this is so touching. He kept all those notes and letters. Somebody call Lisa. Somebody convince Lisa. Unless Lisa has like 10 kids and married, then it didn't work. But bro, somebody. I'm hoping Lisa doesn't have 10 kids for sure.
Did it feel weird? I mean, I'm sure you guys look different from when you're 20. Or did it feel like nothing changed?
She kept saying to me, we've led two totally different lives. We're two totally different people.
Uh-oh.
We're not the same we were back then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Just let's go have a coffee. And by the end of that coffee,
No way.
it was back on.
What?
Okay, so you have a few letters. You're saying some of them are too risque for us to read out loud, right?
I don't want to embarrass
but there's one.
Lisa, but I think this one from July of 1989. Can you believe
No
that?
way. He kept it?
1989.
And you...
Should we bring out the author of this letter?
No way. No way.
Come here, author.
No way. No way. No way. No way. She was the one on the thumbnail? She was there?
First of all,
Oh
you look
no.
phenomenal.
No.
I read about their love story in the book, and I'm the #1 fan. I call you guys Lark, which is the ship name, which is when you combine Lisa and Clark.
Hold on a minute, bro. No, I wasn't ready for this. Lisa was there the whole time. They're back together. 1989 letters. Oh my gosh, bro. I got goosebumps all over. What? Oh my, this is good.
Hello, Lisa. Okay,
Hello,
I
Stephanie.
mean, you have to tell me, what was it like seeing him at that coffee shop and the briefcase? What did you think was in the briefcase?
I didn't know it was in the briefcase. I mean, first of all, seeing him after like 3 decades, it was unbelievable. The 2 weeks that we were in communication with each other, we were kind of getting to know each other again, but we always would banter back and forth and tease each other, and we always had a very playful relationship. So it was kind of, we got back into that rhythm.
Yeah.
We actually didn't have a phone conversation until we saw each other. So it was kind of like we hadn't spoken on the phone yet.
Oh my goodness.
And we met for coffee, and I was so nervous. I remember I was like, okay, I don't want to seem too anxious or too interested or whatever. I didn't know what was going to happen. He had led this crazy life. So there was a part of me that was a little nervous, like, who is this person? Is he the same person I remember from college years? But I just felt this burning desire to explore it and to see him. And I was so impressed with what he was doing with his life, from where he was and where he is now, that day when we were meeting, and all the good things he was doing, helping to change the statute of limitations law in New Jersey, being an advocate, speaking out, getting other people to speak out. I was truly inspired by him. So I said, I have to at least meet him for coffee. Even if we just have a friendship, like, I just felt like this was something I just needed to do at this point in my life.
Did you think about him as often as he thought about you?
Probably not. Sorry. I mean, I was so busy living my life, you know. I was growing a business. I had children. I was married to somebody else for 20 years. The marriage was deteriorating, and but at the same time, I did think about him because I felt like he was that one person. I think everyone has that one person that their first love, and that person that there was never any sort of closure with Clark. When the relationship ended, I still loved him, and I didn't understand why we didn't work. And the connection was definitely unlike any other connection I'd had, even, my marriage. So I just felt like I had to do it. I just didn't want to spend my life regretting not seeing him, not talking to him.
So Stephanie read the book and was telling me about how Clark was saying that you're this force of nature when you guys
storm.
Yes.
The first time you guys met, it was in the library, and then you just plopped down and
right.
Yapping.
It was the L Center, which was the student center at Northeastern.
So can you tell us your point of view?
So when I walked in, I mean, first of all, I was a freshman, he was a sophomore.
But before Lisa continues, I'm sorry, but I'm sitting here blushing and just, I'm thinking, bro, I'm so happy. You can't imagine. Words can't describe how happy I am. I can't even talk. I can't make a comment. How?
I grew up in a house. I'm one of 3 girls. I was the middle daughter, and I was more of the rebellious person. And my parents were like just always, I had all these rules, that I had to follow. And when I went away to college, it was like, I felt like I was just being let out of a cage. My parents were very strict. So I just felt like when I was in college, and that was actually, I met Clark, I think it was the first semester that I was there. So it was the fall. And I just felt free. And I just walked into the L Center, and I saw this young guy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And he looked so lonely because he was sitting at there was a round table and 4 chairs, and he was alone, except he was in one chair and there were 3 empty chairs. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll just sit down and say hello. And I just did. And he looked at me, and his blue eyes just captivated me immediately. But he was really quiet. And I was like, blah, 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 just talking all about myself. And I don't think he really knew what to say. And I don't know if he'd ever met anyone quite like me. So, from this little town of Stillwater. I just kind of talked. And then I finally paused and said, and do you ever talk? You did.
This is so funny because in his book he writes that he was just trying to focus on schoolwork, and he says no, he looked lonely, so I needed to.
I felt like I needed to just talk to him, and and that was our first meeting, and it was intense right from the start. I feel like he invited me to a party he was having that weekend at his apartment. And I got there, and I was just looking for him, and we shared our first kiss that night. Oh my God. I was 18, actually, when we met. So it was a very long time ago. Mm-hmm. And Northeastern was a co-op program, so we were kind of coming and going. There were not cell phones at the time. So, just connecting and reconnecting with different semesters, was interesting. But we always seemed to find each other. Mm-hmm.
Do you guys still have the same dynamic where you're the one that's talking his ear off, or
he's now the talker? I don't know if you can sense from the interview. No, I absolutely love talking to him. When we reconnected, it was like getting to know him all over again. But he was a different person now. This was 6 years ago, but he was a different person than when I knew him back in college. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was a free person, free from prison and also free from, his secrets. Yeah. And he had healed and he was evolved. And it was like our relationship was a million times better because we were both in a different place in our lives. And the timing was right for both of us.
You guys have a very interesting energy. I've never experienced this before, where you meet a couple and you feel like you are the side character in a romance novel. And you're like, oh, I'm just a side character. It's actually not my main love story. Like, you guys have such fascinating, and you're getting shy. You guys getting shy. You guys are
Oh
so
my goodness.
fascinating.
I'm watching. Smile from ear to ear. He's smiling more than you.
I think it's because I feel like we have maybe a similar dynamic where we call it yapping.
Yeah.
So I yap to him, not with him. When the cops came to arrest you, they searched your room and they found your love letters.
Yeah. Well, when they
Yeah.
come to your house, they like trash it. You know, they dumped every drawer out, tore the bedding apart, the closet, everything was out. I had 2 cedar cabinet desks and, you know, just everything is dumped out. And my mother went to like try to put everything back together in this room, and she came across letters addressed from Lisa.
Wow.
And saw the postmark from 1989, 1990, 1991, and she said, what has Clark held on to these for so long? These have to be as valuable as gold to him. So I got to put these in a safe place. So my mother went through my mess, scooped up my love letters, and held them for me until I got released. And then she's like, I found these straightening out your room. Why have you kept all these letters? And I'm like, that's how I stayed connected with Lisa, Mom, over the years.
Do you think your
Wow.
mom knew all along?
Yeah, I would tell my mom. I would cry to my mom. You know, not every year. Or maybe it would, you know, like maybe after the mob threatening my life and having the FBI come say there's a hit put on you. Maybe I sat with my mom then and said, like, man, I've really allowed life to get away from me. I wish I had never lost Lisa, you know, and cried with her over that. But her and I had talks over the years about Lisa. When Lisa would come and visit, like she would get up early and go sit on my parents' bed as they're both still in bed, my father and mother, and have these long talks as they're still lying in bed. Like, and they just loved her. Like,
Wait, could you read us a snippet of the letter you wrote him?
Sure.
Have you read this since? Like,
Oh
when
my
was the
gosh!
last
So
time?
when he first showed me the
Yes.
letters, and I started to read them in the coffee shop.
Oh my goodness.
I started hysterically laughing because reading a letter that you wrote 30 years ago, at that point in your life where you're just all hormones, you know, you're like 18, 19, just discovering love.
so this letter she got for me, it says, for yesterday's memories, today's love, and tomorrow's dreams, I love you. Do we know what parts you can read?
So, yeah. Oh, boy. So this was written July 16th, 1989.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, when he had these letters, I realized that this is true. You just never could believe someone would be thinking about you for 30 years. But when they take your letters out of a briefcase and show them to you, you're like, they really were thinking about me all this time. Like, no one holds on to letters for 30 years unless that person really meant something incredibly deep to them. So it made it real for me, seeing the letters. So, all right, here we go. Dearest.
Well, before she reads the letters, you could tell the letters are also in great shape. And if something is meant to be, it is meant to be. Like, I believe in that. I believe that if you're meant to be with someone, no matter where life takes you both, you're going to be together. This is a perfect example of that. Netflix, where are you? Make a movie out of this. Come on, man. We need a movie out of this.
Clark, for me, seeing the letters. So, all right, here we go. Dearest Clark, we've shared so many memories together, both good and not so good ones.
Uh-oh.
I like to remember the good ones because they're the ones that stick out in my mind. The time that we drank wine at Ed Burke's was an early memory, but one that for some reason always sticks out in my mind. The next sentence we'll skip.
Oh, no.
All right.
No.
I think knowing that you would go to all lengths to satisfy me really intrigued me. All right, that's as risque as we're getting.
Oh my God! What the?
I wanted to hear it, but all lengths. No. She shouldn't have read it. Oh my goodness. And he hang on to that.
I often think about the quiet times we've spent together, just staring into each other's eyes across a dinner table when we were out, or when we were in bed together holding each other.
Oh boy.
I see something so caring and wonderful about the way you look at me that somehow makes me shake. During times like that, nothing needs to be said because I know what you're saying to me with your eyes. Those romantic times were great, but the wild and crazy times were great as well. Skip the next sentence.
No, okay, yeah, skip. But I want to know. But it's okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Where
okay.
am I up to? All.
You guys are getting lost in the non-sentences.
All of these times that we've shared have become cherished thoughts that are embedded in my head and my heart. I don't exactly know at what point I actually fell in love with you. I just know that at this point, each day I spend without you is a torment. Every time I get off the phone with you, I feel alone again. I get through each day with the thought that one day soon we will be together and I won't have to ever feel lonely again.
Oh my goodness.
Those are my dreams for our tomorrow. I miss you so much right now that I hurt. I need you, Lisa. So, yeah, so imagine reading that letter 30 years later and feeling all those emotions that you felt.
Yeah.
It was incredible, and it's still incredible.
And you can.
Yeah, I understand Clark 100% now. Hey, buddy, I understand why you never got away from that. Oh, that second sentence. And the one she didn't read. I can only imagine what that was. If you read that, there is no way you're going to get the person out of your head. Never. You can't. It's like a drug. Oh my goodness.
Had those letters in pristine condition.
Yeah.
In their envelopes. Yeah. But this is how we communicated, because we didn't have cell phones. So I wrote him lots of letters, and he kept them all.
So what do you guys do now for fun together?
What we really cherish is Sundays and Monday mornings we have together to have coffee.
It's our time together.
We just love having coffee together.
We just like to explore different places to walk. And we take our walks and we cook together, which we love to do. Clark's an incredible cook. We like listening to podcasts. We're watching movies. Yes.
Do you watch all of his podcasts?
I do. And I try to give him constructive criticism. I think his platform is so important. And I want him to grow. And I think he's doing such meaningful work. Yeah. And he continues to inspire me. Ever since we reconnected, I tell him he's a constant source of inspiration for me.
Yeah.
Lisa made the comment one time, it doesn't matter what we do as long as we're together. Yeah. So the day before we flew down to do your show, my mother was in the hospital. So we had to go pick her up from the hospital. It took a while, to get her discharged. Drove her home, got her home, and the same thing we just took her from the hospital for happened again.
Whoa.
And we had to turn around and drive her back to the hospital. And we met my sister there, and we were there a while. And so it was a really long day. And then eventually we had to leave my mother there. And driving home that night, I said to her, I go, you made the comment one time, it doesn't matter what we're doing as long as we're together. So I hope that holds true for today as well. And she's like, of course it does.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
we're a team for sure. And I think that's when you know you're with the right person. because it doesn't feel like a chore to do that. You just want to be there for them.
But is your mother okay?
She's home now.
Yeah.
She's got some medical issues we got to get straightened out, but she's home right now.
And Clark and his sister are such a great team. Like they come together and they take turns and help. And she's 96, his mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
August 31st, she'll be 96.
Yeah, she's turning 96 this month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is she happy that you two are back
Oh my
together?
gosh. She's one of my biggest fans. She calls me Lisa, my love, just like Clark. I'm so happy you're back in Clark's life. I always knew that you were the one. You were so special. She said, I'm just so happy that you're here.
I feel like moms know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop. Okay. Lisa, we need a podcast episode on Clark's podcast review, which I'm going to link in the description along with his book. And I would be obsessed if you guys filmed TikToks together. I don't know. I just want to know more about your life. Okay. I'm obsessed to the point where I genuinely feel like I'm a side character in a rom-com at this point. Like, you guys have some intense chemistry. I can only imagine those letters.
Yes.
Yes, me too.
Can I ask a final question?
Yes.
Clark, I know you commented that there's seasons to life.
Yes.
What would you say what season you're in right now?
I would say, and I tell people this because there's so many times I thought of giving up, but I always retained a little glimmer of hope. And, so there's like cold, dark winters where nothing's going right in your life. You got the FBI telling you there's a hit. You've just committed murder. You're a drug addict. You're in prison. Those are all cold, dark winters. You're getting sexually assaulted and animals being beaten in front of you. Cold, dark winter. And I tell people, don't ever lose hope that sunshine awaits you and opportunity awaits you. And I would say in the spring is when you plant. I would say I'm just starting to harvest. So I'm in that spring to summer mode. Right. I'm not in the full-blown summer of harvesting yet. It's been a long road to get to this point. That book has taken 10 years. I wrote that in prison 10 years ago. So for people that want to lose hope, like my book took 10 years. Like, don't lose hope. Opportunity awaits you around the corner. It's not going to be tomorrow sometimes, but it definitely awaits. And this book will instill hope in you and inspiration. That's what it wasn't written to be a trauma dump. It was written to give people hope that anything is possible. Like, I'm living proof that literally anything is possible.
Yeah. And you're reunited with
and I get the girl back at the end.
Yeah.
like it should be a movie. Like,
yeah, no,
life literally has been a movie.
Thank you. I said it. Netflix, where are you? Please. This is a movie. This whole story from the beginning to this time, it's a movie. And it's a movie that you can make seasons out of. You can make it into one movie, two parts. Like, just make it, please.
Yeah, no, they need a movie. I need a movie.
Yes.
You guys are incredible. Please keep us updated. Not even just us, but like our audience on everything you guys are
everything,
gonna do.
Please.
All right. Lisa, please promise me you're gonna keep us updated.
I'm gonna start taking some classes about TikTok videos like tomorrow. Maybe on the plane home. You never know.
Yes. And I am going to leave all of the links in the description. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you. You guys were amazing to us.
Please show some love and support to Clark's by purchasing his new book, Scared. Let's all do so, man. Let's all do so. What a story, man. Around the world with Steven.
is an amazing YouTube.
Oh,
Like, share, and subscribe.
wow. I mean, what else can you say after this? It's man, this is perfect. And
With Steven is amazing YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe. On the world with Steven is amazing YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe.
we need a movie ASAP, and we all need to support Clark.
Around the world with
I love you all so much. I'll catch you in the next one.
channel. Like, share, and subscribe.
Bye.
Tune in, hit play, let's take a ride around the world with Steven, we worldwide. Stories so wild, they keep you hooked. Subscribe and share, come take a look. Reacting to the stories, the crazy, the real. With every new video, we bring the thrill. From mysteries to drama, we cover it all. Join the fam, let's have a ball. From dark tales to